You're not gonna believe what just happened in women's tennis. A dirty play that nobody's talking about just launched a Filipina teenager into the top 60 of the world rankings. And trust me, this story gets wild. So Alex Eala just jumped to number 54 in the WTA World Rankings, which is absolutely insane for a player from the Philippines. But here's the thing. The way this happened has everyone in the tennis world picking sides. There's controversy, there's drama, and there's a match that people are still arguing about days later. I'm gonna break down exactly what went down, why people are so heated about it, and what this means for Alex Eala's career. Okay, so let me set the scene for you. Alex Eala is 19 years old. She's from the Philippines. And for those of you who don't follow tennis closely, the Philippines isn't exactly known as a tennis powerhouse. Like, when you think of tennis nations, you're probably thinking USA, Spain, Russia, maybe Australia. The Philippines? Not really on that list. But Alex has been grinding for years, working her way up through the junior circuits, dealing with injuries, struggling to get wildcards into bigger tournaments, and basically fighting an uphill battle just to compete at the professional level. Now, she's been hovering around the hundreds in the rankings for a while. She'd crack the top 100, drop out, climb back up. It's been this constant cycle of almost making it, but not quite breaking through to that next level where the real money and the real recognition starts coming in. And in tennis, rankings are everything. They determine which tournaments you can enter, whether you need to qualify or get direct entry. And honestly, they determine whether sponsors even look at you twice. So Alex has been working toward this moment for basically her entire life, but there's always been this question mark hanging over her head. Can a player from the Philippines really make it to the elite level of women's tennis? Can she compete with players who have massive teams, unlimited funding, and train at the best facilities in the world? Because let's be real, the resources available to a player from Manila are not the same as what's available to someone training in Florida or Barcelona. And then comes this match against Victoria Golubic. Now, Golubic is a solid player. She's Swiss, she's been ranked as high as number 35 in the world, and she's got experience. She's been on tour for years, played all the big tournaments, and she knows every trick in the book. This match was supposed to be a test for Alex. Can she handle a crafty veteran who's gonna make her work for every single point? So the match starts, and right away you can tell something's off. Golubic is playing, let's just say she's playing a different kind of game than what you'd normally expect. Now, in tennis, there are rules, right? You're supposed to play fair, call balls honestly, and respect your opponent. But there's also this gray area where players can bend the rules without technically breaking them. And Golubic was living in that gray area during this match. First, there's the time violation. In tennis, you're supposed to serve within 25 seconds between points. It's a rule that doesn't always get enforced super strictly, but it exists. Golubic was taking her sweet time between points, sometimes stretching it to 35, 40 seconds. And look, I get it. Everyone needs a breather sometimes. But when you're doing it consistently, when you're doing it specifically after you lose a point, that's when it starts looking like gamesmanship. You're trying to disrupt your opponent's rhythm, cool them down when they're heating up, and basically mess with their mental game. Then there's the medical timeouts. Now, medical timeouts are totally legal. If you're injured, you can call a trainer, get treatment, and take a break. The problem is, some players use medical timeouts strategically. They'll call one when they're losing momentum, not because they're actually hurt, but because they want to ice their opponent. And during this match, Golubic called for a medical timeout at a very convenient moment, right when Alex was building momentum, winning points in a row, looking like she was about to break serve. But here's where it gets really messy. The line calling. In some tournaments, you have electronic line calling, Hawkeye Live, where a computer makes all the calls and there's no human error. But in this tournament, they still had line judges. And when you have line judges, players can challenge calls. There can be disagreements, and things can get heated. Multiple times during this match, there were questionable calls on crucial points. Balls that looked in were called out. Balls that looked out were called in. And every single time, it seemed like the call went against Alex. Now, I'm not saying the line judges were biased or anything like that, but what I am saying is that Golubic was very vocal about these calls. She was talking to the umpire, questioning things, creating this atmosphere of doubt and tension. And when you're a younger player like Alex, when you're still trying to prove yourself on the big stage, that kind of pressure can mess with your head. You start second-guessing yourself, wondering if you're seeing things wrong, losing confidence in your own judgment. There was this one point in particular that everyone's talking about. Alex hit what looked like a clear winner down the line. The ball landed on the line. You could see the mark on the clay, but the line judge called it out. Alex challenged it, obviously, because she knew it was in, but the umpire came down, looked at the mark, and somehow still said it was out. Like, the mark was literally touching the line. In tennis, if any part of the ball touches any part of the line, it's in. That's the rule. Everyone knows this rule. But somehow, this call stood, and you could see it on Alex's face. She was frustrated, angry, confused. She argued with the umpire for a minute, trying to get the call overturned, but nothing changed. And that's the kind of moment that can break a player mentally. You feel like the world is against you, like no matter how well you play, the system is rigged. It's hard to keep fighting when you feel like you're not just playing against your opponent, but against the officials too. But here's the thing about Alex Eala. She didn't break. A lot of players would have fallen apart after that. They would have lost their composure, started making errors, and just mentally checked out of the match. But Alex dug deeper. She kept fighting, kept grinding out points, kept believing she could win, even when everything seemed to be going against her. The match went to 3 sets. It was close, really close. There were moments when it looked like Golubic was going to pull it out, use all her experience and craftiness to outlast the teenager. But Alex just wouldn't go away. She kept coming back, kept putting pressure on Golubic, kept forcing her to hit one more shot, win one more point. And then, in the final set, something shifted. Maybe Golubic got tired. Maybe the mental game she was playing backfired and she couldn't keep up the intensity. Or maybe Alex just reached a different level, a zone where nothing else mattered except winning the next point. Whatever it was, Alex started dominating. She was hitting winners from everywhere, serving aces, moving Golubic around the court like a puppet. The final game of the match was incredible. Alex was serving for the match at 5-4 in the 3rd set. This was it. This was the moment that could change her entire career. Win this game, and she'd score one of the biggest victories of her life. Lose it, and all the drama, all the controversy, all the fighting would be for nothing. First point. Ace down the middle. 15-love. You could feel the confidence radiating from her. Second point, Golubic tried to get into a baseline rally, but Alex stepped inside the court and ripped a forehand winner. 30-love. The crowd was going crazy at this point. Everyone loves an underdog story, and Alex was giving them exactly that. But then Golubic started pushing back. She won the next point with a drop shot that Alex couldn't reach. 30-15. Then another point with a perfectly placed lob. 30-30, and you could feel the tension building. This is where champions are made or broken. Can you close out the match when the pressure is at its highest? Next point. Alex served out wide. Golubic barely got her racket on it, and the return floated long. 40-30, match point. The entire stadium went silent. This was it. Alex bounced the ball a few times, took a deep breath, and served. It was a good serve, not an ace, but good enough to put Golubic on the defensive. Everyone was talking about what had happened during the match. Some people were calling out Golubic for her tactics, saying she'd crossed a line and tried to win through gamesmanship instead of good tennis. Other people were defending her, saying she was just using every legal advantage available, and that's what veterans are supposed to do. But regardless of where people stood on the controversy, everyone agreed on one thing. Alex Eala had proven she's the real deal. She'd won despite everything being stacked against her. She'd shown mental toughness that players twice her age don't have. And she'd announced herself as a serious player on the WTA Tour. So what does this all mean? Well, first off, Alex jumping to number 54 in the world is huge. That puts her in position to get direct entry into Grand Slams, which means she won't have to go through qualifying rounds anymore. She'll be playing on the big stages. Center courts, prime time matches. That's where careers are made, where legends are born. For the Philippines, this is massive. Alex is now the highest-ranked Filipino player in tennis history, male or female. She's carrying the hopes of an entire nation on her shoulders, and she's handling it like a champion. There are kids in Manila right now picking up tennis rackets for the first time because they saw what Alex did.